All right, this is a bit of a weird one today. So I'm not going to be playing any games. This is really nobody's going to actually watch this. This is more for myself and my own sanity than anything else. It's for posterity, and when we go back to the past and kind of to justify some of the scores that you may have seen. So this past weekend, the 19th and 20th of June, I ran an event. I wanted to do 100 demos for the SteamNextFest over the weekend, right? In 48 hours. I ended up streaming about 41 hours of the weekend. So I'm obviously exhausted. You can hear my throat is gone. But I had a total blast. Got to try all of these different demos of different genres, of different scope, size, quality, really. And it's just a ton of fun. It really is. But of course, it's tiring as well. It's a big effort. And unfortunately, that very first day, Saturday, I woke up at 4 a.m. and I finished at midnight. I had a 20-hour stream saved. And then when I woke up the next day, that stream was kind of destroyed. It didn't exist. It said the stream is no longer, is not available for viewing or something like that on YouTube. Looked it up online, and apparently, if a stream is over 12 hours on YouTube, YouTube doesn't store it and host it. It just deletes it or something. So really stupid, really. It's a stupid thing that happens because there's no warning about it. Now that I know, the second day I ran the stream for 11 hours. I cut the stream and then we ran again until I finished it. But that first day is just lost forever, which sucks because it was a lot of effort. It was 20 hours of content lost. And YouTube really just didn't warn there's no warning about it. It's like, oh, well, if you look it up afterwards, there's information, but it's really niche. So it's just, it's a beginner's trap. It sucks. But so what I want to do on this video as an idea of one of my friends is, why not just run through all of the games I did that first day? There are 45 games, so it's going to be still quite a long video. And just basically go over how I felt playing each one and then the score, justify the score that I gave it. Because I have scored all of these games and I even put it in the YouTubes with the timestamps. So if you want to, if you see the score and then you want to see why I gave it that score, you can jump to the video and that video is always going to be there and you can check. So, but this first day is lost forever. So it's a little bit, it sucks and there's no real justification of these scores. It's just, hey, this one's a 3. Hey, this one's a 5. And that's not really fair. So I'm just going to cover the games that I did. The idea is, why don't we kind of watch a little bit of the video on Steam? I've got all of the pages up here, all in order. We're going to go one by one alphabetical because I obviously don't remember the order that I did it in for that day. I used a random generator to pull all of the games. So why don't we watch a little bit of the video and then I'll talk about basically how what the game was about and how I liked it and the score that I gave it. That's it. That's the intro. Let's get going. The first game was, as you can see, Alekon. Well, first alphabetical. Good picture. All right, we get the idea behind that. So Alekon is, as you really probably couldn't tell from that video, but Alekon is actually kind of a Pokemon Snap game. It's an on-rails photography game. You're trying to snap images of these creatures that are flying around or hidden somewhere that you can trigger by throwing donuts and attracting them or hitting them on the head or opening chests or whatever you're doing. There's different ways to kind of activate events and trigger them and take pictures of them. They all have different poses that you can take, and it's set out over several worlds. I think it's like 4 worlds or islands or whatever. But you can only really go into the first one. So we had a lot of fun. And as you take pictures of new creatures, they get added to that home base so that you can interact with them and make friends with them, as you saw in that video. And then there are also little side quests where you're talking to them and you're playing mini games with them, as you may have seen there. It was really cute. It was really cute. I mean, the photography on rails thing is fun for a little while, but if you have to do the same track over and over again to get all of the different poses and get good quality pictures, and you're zoomed in correctly and the angle's just right and the timing is perfect, that to me that wouldn't be very fun in the long run. But from what I played, it was a lot of fun, and I liked the mini games and the interaction outside of the photography more than anything else, because there was just a little bunch of cute critters that all had their own kind of side quests and jokes, and it seemed cool. It says it's only positive on Steam. I gave it a 3 out of 5, and you got to understand these scores are basically how I felt whilst I was playing it, and basically as a rating of how much I would like to just keep playing this game right now. That's kind of how I've been describing it. So 3 out of 5 is middle of the road, where it was fun. I wasn't super sucked into it. I wasn't pushed away by it. I would continue to play it, but it was kind of, more... I'm optimistic about its future, about the content of the game, but in general, it's kind of whatever, right? It's fun, it's fine. But I'm optimistic that it hopefully would be better and get better as you go through the game, get more challenging and be more interesting. But that was Alekon. It was a cool one. But yeah, very very just Pokemon Snap, right? And then it had this interaction outside that was a little bit fresher, but the Pokemon Snap stuff was, simple, done before. Next, Black Book. Let me run this quickly. Also, we've got to deal with Steam's video loader, which is video player, always an issue. Ooh, a Colossus. That was the story, yeah. Oh, jeez, dark. No gameplay showed. No real gameplay being showed. Oh, there we go. A little bit. Right, well, that was a weird trailer because it kind of showed things out of order. So, in fact, I think the prologue of this game is free to play. You can go do it right now. But essentially, it's a deck building. I don't know if it's a roguelike or what, to be honest, because it seems like you have little missions and you're going on a track. But I actually accomplished a part of a game. So maybe it's not a roguelike. Maybe it's just you have to continue through the story. I don't know what happens if you die. Maybe you just start that kind of run again for that specific area, but once you've beaten that area, you're done with it and you move on to the next one in the story, right? That seems to be what's going on. The part that was out of order is going to the devil and things like that. That's actually the first thing that happens in this game. So something happens to your husband, he dies. You want to bring him back, basically. Something bad happened to him. You want to bring him back. Your grandfather is a witch, and you ask him that you want to become a witch, and he's like, "Yep, about time, really. Let's get it done." To do that, we need to summon a demon, then murder that demon, and then you need to go into hell and speak to the devil, and the devil will give you these powers. But it's weird because you are given these powers by obviously an evil creature, but then you can use them to help people. Throughout the game, you make moral decisions, and they can give you sins, or they can give you this kind of morality choice thing, but there's always like an outcome of a moral, but then an outcome of like a reward as well. That's a little bit different, but also it's a story thing as well. So you want to go, you want to follow your own narrative path, which is really nice. The combat and the deck building was kind of lax at first. It was very simple, what was going on, but it was easy to see how it was going to improve over time. Basically, you're reading spells out of a book. I liked the theme. And you can build these different pages of a book. So you can have 2 of these scrolls and a key page. So you're trying to build your deck in 2 different ways to allow you to maximize each turn. It was nice, and it was absolutely gorgeous. It was just like this really, as you saw there, really like flat, plain 3D models. But the story was nice. It was pretty dark. It was a dark story, and you can tell it's going to get worse. Even as people come and ask for your help, you can obviously choose to turn them down, or you can go and help them. But there's usually a dark ending to that as well. It's pretty nice. It's a nice game. I gave this one a 4 because I did want to keep playing it. I actually was very interested in seeing where it would go from the point that I played, because I just at the end of the demo you kind of acquire a new helper. I can't remember what they called them, but he was going to be part of my team. So it sounds like also you're going to have cronies basically with you and your party, and I don't know how that's going to work, and it was very interesting. So that was a 4. Absolutely just really nice looking game. Cool card battle, deck building, which, you know, I'm always a sucker for anyway. But the actual RPG story narrative side of it was very entertaining as well. So that's Black Book. I really did like that one. Next one, Blaster Master 03. Let me get this video up. And let Steam try to load.
Inti Creates and Sunsoft present the final piece of a trilogy. A metal attacker embarks on a brand new adventure. The side view and top-down action is more intense than ever before. Jason's third battle against mutant kind is about to begin. What new threats await him in a new dimension?
Ooh, we didn't need to see that in the demo.
The pinnacle of mutant blasting action is here.
Alright, so Blaster Master 03. I actually don't know if this is a new one or if it's a remake of an old one. It's obviously from an old franchise, and this is the 3rd entry. But I don't know if it's those 2 games are old and then this one's a new one, or what happened. But it was really cool. I also gave this one a 4. I really wanted to continue playing it. And the reason it was so cool is because it's like a side-scrolling shooter platformer where you play the role of a tank, which is really silly because the tank can wall jump and stuff, and it's like a big joke. And that was like, yeah, it's fine. But then a lot of the time you get out of the tank, and now you're playing as this guy in a top-down shooter with all of these different weaponry, and you parry attacks, and some of the combat was really interesting in that mode. And then there were a couple of puzzles and stuff. But then you can get back in the tank and you're doing that. And then I saw there's the switching of the universes or whatever, because you could see that the world was glitching out in the demo, but you couldn't go through the portals like they did in that trailer there. And it looked like a lot more was going to happen. You only get to play a little bit of each part. You get to play a part of the tank, part of the guy back in the tank or whatever. But it seems like also maybe you'd be able to navigate the same location as maybe as different pieces or something, and discover hidden secrets. A lot of it was gorgeous. Oh, excuse me. Oh god. Oh. I'm dying over here. I'm telling you, it weakened my entire system to doing all that without sleep and without eating and drinking properly. It was a silly thing to do, but it was a lot of fun, and you know, it's only once a year or whatever. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. But yeah, this one was absolutely gorgeous. Obviously, the old aesthetics are perfect because they're based upon all these older games. And you can see how it's going to get crazier and crazier. You know, this action platforming. Look, so that's the top-down kind of battle thing, and then that's the tank. It's going to have awesome bosses like this. It was really engaging. All right, it was really engaging. It was gorgeous looking, and yeah, I just wanted to play more of it. Demo only showed a little piece of each one, and it's really one of those demos that doesn't ramp up very much because it's kind of the intro of the game, and I wanted to see how crazy you could actually get. That was a 4, Blaster Master 03. Catizens. Well, all right, let's jump into this one. Look at this video. I'm interested to see this video actually. All right. Well, Catizens. This one received a 2. I kind of didn't want to continue playing it. It worked okay. It didn't engage me very much. Basically, the first part of the game was, hey, you have these 2 cats. You need to build a little camp for them. So you build it. One of them's a builder. One of them's a warrior. You have to accomplish these missions to continue, right? So send the warrior to fight. Send this guy to build. Now that they've built this, now you need to go get some firewood and stuff. And I was like, all right, this is all right. Then we completed that area, let's say, so you go to the next one. Okay, well, now you need to do the same thing, but now there's more enemies to go fight. Now you need to build 2 houses and a workshop, and then, all right, well, now you're done with that one. Now you need 7 cats in your town, and basically it was just getting longer and longer and longer in kind of an idle game way, but without really becoming more engaging. It was just more managing stuff. I don't know, it didn't really pull me in. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the theme anyway. The cats were like whatever, but it just wasn't engaging very, very well. I mean, this cat is an architect, they can build. This cat is a warrior, they can fight. This cat is a gatherer, they're good at gathering. I'm like, yeah, sure. So you can invite you get like cats that want to join basically applications, and you can ask them to join. But I don't know, it didn't feel like a management game where you had much choice. You were just like, yeah, you go fight, you grab these trees. You're an applicant, you're not very good, but I need more cats to meet the goal, whatever. It was kind of like an idle game, but not super engaging as an idle game either. Like the decisions you made were just kind of, yeah, whatever, I just need to succeed on these several goals. And they were all very easy as well. I don't know. It didn't pull me in at all. It kind of worked. There were some issues with it for sure, like when the cats are sleeping and when they're adventuring, how you send them out in groups, controlling individual cats. It was all kind of fiddly and awkward, and leveling them up. Now they have levels as well, but not in any way that kind of feels good. Like, I don't know. It was very, very slow as well, and I can see every level is just going to become more and more stacked of the same objectives, but more of the same objectives. This one didn't grab me. City of Beats. All right. That boss was a nightmare. Yeah. Elite battle. Right, well, I don't know if you got that, but basically it's a roguelike game. Rogue-lite, maybe? It says Rogue-lite, yeah, because you could improve at the end of the run. But basically you're making your way through this a run, right? So you were choosing different places to go in a split path, kind of like Slay the Spire and all of those, to get different upgrades. Do you want items? Do you want an upgrade? Do you want passive defense, passive attack? All of the different goodies that you can get. There are elite fights to get more stuff and so on. And it was a twin-stick shooter. It was a really nice twin-stick shooter. You could see there with the fog and the rain and the neon glow. And because of the fog, it kind of diffused really beautifully over these building tops that you're fighting on. You have your dash, you have your gun, you have special abilities that when your gun heats up, you can kind of diffuse it, and you can kind of cool it down with like blasts out and things like that. It was awesome. It was really, really good. But then I started fighting this one type of enemies. There were 2 of them, and they just kept hitting me over and over again with the same attack. And I was just like, it's so fast, I can't dodge it. It's so fast. How do I know when it's going to shoot me? You know what I mean? And then I realized, wait a minute, it always plays a bit of the music and then goes dun dun dun. And when it goes dun, the shot would fire. And I realized, oh my god, I'm playing City of Beats. Every shot, every trap, every movement is coming from the music itself. And at that moment, I was like, okay, this game is incredible. I really was having a total blast with it. It wasn't like super something like Binding of Isaac or Enter the Gungeon when you're talking about roguelites. You mentioned those because you build up so many items and craziness and things. And obviously this game lacks that. It's more like just the core mechanics, but building it around the music and stuff was very, very, very cool. And you really do have to kind of learn the beat and keep it in mind for when you're dodging and you know, kind of zoning in and out of enemies. It was a real blast. I really wanted to keep playing that. I gave that one a 4, and if I was going any more granular than that, it would have been a high 4 as well. You can see all of the different. That's kind of the track that you would go down and choose your options. There was a boss that we fought that was basically a bigger version of those enemies that were really hard for me to fight. It was great. It was really, really good. Highly recommended. I'm excited for that one to actually come out so I can play it. I mean, I am a sucker for those roguelites anyway, but with the rhythm and the music, it really is something special. Dagon. Mythos. Very, very short trailer that actually did cover the game very well, weirdly enough. This is not a game. This is not really a game. It is actually more like an experience. It's more like a visual novel that you're inside of. It would have 100% felt better in VR because all you can do is look around in a small area, click on things, and hear the next part of the story. That is it. Sometimes you can click on special things that'll kind of show facts about the history of maybe why H.P. Lovecraft wrote about that specific item or how he felt about a certain thing, according, to his diaries or historians and people interested in his life. But then the story, because it basically is, H.P. Lovecraft story, it's written incredibly well. It's totally beautiful. The actual world design, because all they're doing is creating these vistas that you're in. That's all it is. It's just you're on a boat there. Okay, you can look around a little bit, and it's just beautiful ocean on a boat and a moon. That's it. There's they're not creating all of these enemies. They don't have to create all of these different animations and stuff. It's just basically beautiful sights and having a story read to you from with a wonderful voice acting and an incredibly well written and horrifying story. It is Lovecraft, so it is kind of written in a way where everything is so interesting and confusing, and you just want to know more. You want to learn the next piece of it. It wasn't a game. There's no, it's kind of weird to say, but there was very little interaction. The game was, I would call that an experience. I still gave it a 4 because I super enjoyed being in there and just listening to it. And I wanted to continue. I'm sure it's going to be a very short experience, short-lived, but I'm actually very excited for this one to come out just so I can, one night you're just in the dark, just like it is right now, headphones on, lights off, and just go through this entire game and experience it. And if you do have a VR setup, also even more recommended. This is also one I'm going to send to a few of my my Lovecraft loving friends as well. I'm sure they're going to get a kick out of this one. Absolutely gorgeous game. Thing. What is the next one? Death Trash. Okay. Death Trash is a very popular one from the SteamNextFest. Oh yeah. You can press F to puke whenever you want. Ooh, boss there. All right, well that's Death Trash. So people are really loving this game because it has a lot of stuff going for it. Honestly, when we played it, you go through the tutorial, and it has, you know, it's this isometric view, but you do have the dodge and you have the weaponry, and you're fighting like that. Although you do run out of ammo and stuff, you have to be very careful with that. You can go into kind of a stealth mode. You saw probably from all of these stats here, maybe on the left hand side, there are a lot of stats in this game, and it feels kind of like a System Shock or a Deus Ex, where you can really approach things in a vastly different way. You can talk to people, you can just fight them, you can stealth, through them. You can hack objects depending on what you're doing, and how good you are in certain areas. And it seemed like it was way better to focus on 2 or 3 instead of trying to get a little bit good at everything, as is usually the case with these kinds of games. A lot going on for it. It says co-op here. I'm not sure how you would do co-op. It'd be pretty crazy. And at first I was like, oh, this is pretty cool, right? It's just like, so you get some robots, it's like the apocalypse, whatever. And then I wanted to show you this monster thing here. This monster was made out of flesh, and it wanted some friends. And there were other little flesh monsters around, and it turned from this dystopian world, post-apocalyptic, into this completely, it says here actually, cosmic horror, into this actually Lovecraftian kind of thing, where it is the apocalypse, but it also has this weird occultism around it. Like there are people praying to all sorts of creatures like that. There's just huge beings that it's kind of a terrifying thing. I mean, look at that thing's face. It's obviously something dead, and there's like a temple made out of it, or a dungeon or something. And he really took it to the next level. I didn't expect that at all, so it was very nice to see that. But it says combines old school role playing with modern action gameplay and player freedom, and that is exactly what Death Trash did. It does have all of those areas. I actually ended up only giving it a 3. And it was mostly my own fault. We kept dying to some enemies over and over again because I didn't realize you could dash. And I was like, this combat's a little bit dodgy. And then by the time we kind of figured it out and we were moving around, we'd spent so long on the demo that I couldn't afford to spend any more time. You know, I had to get through 100. And I was looking, where else can I go? There's no there's like a map that you have to go out of, and I was like, where else I need to find this person? I need a friend for that weird creature. I needed to find a friend. I found this naked guy here. I tried to attack him actually, and he ran away, and I couldn't find him again. I was like, okay, have I just screwed it up? Then I found out you can go to another little location, and then I was fighting some sniper, and it started to open up and be more interesting just as I had to stop playing. So it was a little bit of a shame. I gave it a 3 because that early intro and it was the demo is the first part of the game, and it didn't grab me as much until I started getting a little bit deeper into it. And that's just sometimes how demos are. Instead of giving you a taste of the middle of the game or something, well, they just give you the intro, and that's a lot of the time that's the worst thing they can do, because the intros are usually very slow. And you're kind of, learning everything, but sometimes you also need to learn everything to be able to play the game. So it's a bit of a catch-22. I gave it a 3 just because of my time with it, but it seemed like this could be incredible. And I've heard a lot of great things about it from other people in the SteamNextFest that have been playing it quite a lot. And they all say it's fantastic. So personally, I'm actually very excited to jump back onto this when it comes out. But I give it a 3 for my time with it during the SteamNextFest, which I think is totally reasonable. But yeah, I do definitely want to jump back onto this one when it comes out. Dodgeball Academia. Very colourful. Are you playing?
Finally,
There you go.
I've made it. My time is now. I will become the best player the school has ever seen. Dodgeball Academia, here I come.
It's gorgeous. It's nothing short of beautiful. Oh, yeah. All right. Well, I give this a 5 straight off the bat, which is the highest one. Quick ratings, I was just going 1 to 5. I gave it a 5 for a lot of reasons. 1, gorgeous. The actual world around you, but then all of the different characters. 2, funny. Very funny. All of the character interactions seemed really nice. It was very cute, cartoonish, and silly in a very jokey kind of way. 3, I mean, the demo itself is huge because there's so much space you can explore and so many people you can talk to. I found a bunch of side quests you can accomplish, and really I had to kind of start running to the end of the demo. And even then, at the point, I was just like, I have to just turn this off now. I can't play anymore because it just kept going and going and going. So it's going to be a lengthy game for sure. But you saw that there's the exploration side of things, and you're completing quests by talking to characters and finding items in the world and running between them, and, you know, very RPG-ish. But then you have this combat system, basically, which is a dodgeball game. And you have your 3 characters there in the middle. You can swap between them. You can grab the dodgeball by kind of like parrying, by blocking at the right time. So you catch the ball. Then you can throw the ball. You can charge, shot the ball. You can focus to power up. Then you can have ultimate attacks. Ultimate attacks are kind of a little mini game that you have to play to get more damage. When the enemy has an ultimate attack, they all have kind of these unique attacks that you have to somehow avoid. It was freaking awesome. And it's like, okay, well, now you've got this core combat system. You know, the whole game is going to be based around that. Is fun as hell, and I just want to play more of it and check out all of these different moves you can level up. You get different stat boosts and abilities and things like that. You change your characters out. And then we had a 1v1 match as well, which was kind of like a little boss fight. So there were all sorts of different ways to play this game. But then after that, once the game's over, once you've played that, you could still play this with your friends, you know? Like, you could be like you versus a friend or an online mode. So the actual core dodgeball system of this could be taken out of this RPG game and just released as its own game. It's kind of like a disc jam, Windjammers. You know, it's like a 2D Knockout City kind of thing, right? Where you have all of these crazy things you can do and the parry, throw, catch, and stuff like that. It was awesome. And then it has all of the RPG and comedy and, you know, character development stuff on top of that, which is just fantastic. I really, really loved it. So that was a 5 out of 5 for me. Really good. Super excited for that to come out. And like I say, I'm going to play through the story, but also I can see myself playing a lot of this with my friends online. EchoBlade is next. Okay. Let me see what this video is all about. This video really attracted me to the game.
You're trying to escape from here, aren't you? I want to see how far you can make it before your head is chopped off.
Echolocation in a game like this. All right, so I gave this game a 2 for a very simple reason. I super liked this idea of being blind and having to hit things or hearing things and having to spin around and react very quickly to something that's kind of shifting in the shadows and fight somehow against it with a huge disadvantage of not being able to see. You can see way too much in this game, and that's the only thing to say about it. The game is not about being a blind knight at all, or at least the intro to the game isn't. I didn't get to play any further past, you know, the first couple of floors or whatever. But what we found, and I was talking with some people in the chat as well, and it was just like, you can see. You're supposed to be blind, but you can see. You're constantly hearing guards step, and it kind of lights up the entire room. You can tap right click, and the guy will like knock his armor so that he can use the echolocation, so you can just see the room. torches or something for some reason just show you there's bells going off. Traps obviously make sound, so you can always see the traps. This game is about a blind person who can see. It's kind of the Daredevil complex. It is not what it kind of advertised itself to me to be. So in the end, I was just walking around dungeons and killing guards in a very simple and straightforward way. I didn't find it as interesting as it could have been. I think basically they have the concept. Maybe they built some demos and found that people didn't like being too blind. It made it really hard. But that's a mechanic thing that I think you need to work on. I think just showing the world to people basically is completely defeating the purpose. I really was disappointed with this one. And I didn't give it a 1 because, it was totally functional and it was still kind of interesting, but it was more disappointment than anything else because it could have been great. And instead it was just like, they tried, and that's kind of where it landed. I really, really, really hope, this says planned release date, planned into early access. I really hope in early access, I hope this is in early access for a year or more, and they just completely revamp this with the help of the community, because it could be so cool, and right now it is just not, and that's really sad. Ember Knights. Asmodee. Asmodee are board game company primarily, I would say. Wait, did it say Asmodee Digital? Built for co-op, was it? We did play this one co-op. I didn't know it was built for that specifically. I thought it was just, play it solo or co-op. Cool, Ember Knights. So, oh yeah, big boss. We actually didn't get to fight a boss. You can see a little live gameplay of that going on in the background. Basically, I did play this with Dom, where we played this one co-op, and it was a lot of fun. It was actually, it was very challenging. There was a lot of, the combat was very simple. You attack and you roll, dodge away, and you can also have like an ability, depending on kind of magic items that you found. So I picked ice and Dom picked an earthquake ability, and we were using that to stun enemies and stuff. And it was challenging. The enemies really go for you. There's some homing attacks that just chase you around for kind of way too long, actually, and they're huge. It's kind of annoying to avoid them. And we died pretty early on. We did a couple of little quick runs of this, but it was hard. I gave this one a 3 because, yeah, it says it's built for co-op, and it is these kind of little small rooms that you're going through, as you can see there. Maybe instead of... Maybe just show the entire room, zoom out a little bit, and I know it's already kind of small, but it is multiplayer co-op, so it can be a little bit awkward if you go to opposite ends of the screen kind of thing, and enemies are all there. So it is a bit more zoomed out than this, but still, it felt simple and challenging in a way that was, it was going to be fun for a while, but once you kind of learn these enemies and stuff, I need to know where it's going to go from there. It didn't really show that. It had these rogue upgrades and stuff that we were finding, and it was fine. It was fun. It could definitely be better and more engaging. I want to do more, right? So we have the roll, we have the one ability, and we have the sword attacking. You just attacking with the sword over and over again. I kind of want something else as well, and maybe that's asking for too much. Maybe there's going to be more with in terms of items and things like that. Maybe it's going to be a blast with more than 2 players or whatever, but it was good. It was good. And that's kind of all. It was there in the middle. I would like to continue playing this one with a friend. But it's not something that I'm going to be like, yeah, let's play Ember Knights. Let's try and beat Ember Knights tonight because it's so fun. It was just kind of like, it was good. It was nice. It was it was kind of engaging. And, that's kind of all there is to say about it. It was good. It was fun. What is it lacking? I don't know. Something special about it, I guess. What was it? What was good about it? Well, it's very pretty, and it worked. It was very smooth, and it was challenging, which I like a lot. That was Ember Knights. Next, Escape from Naraka. Oh, yeah. Head Up Games. Shoot that ice. All right. I think that was a very good view of the game. I gave this one a 4. You gotta stop now. I gave this one a 4. I found it really to be a lot of fun. It reminded me very much of a game I reviewed a good few years back now called Soom, S-E-U-M. I think it was Soom Speedrunners from Hell or something like that. And basically, it had that same kind of quick, crazy platforming that you're trying to do, and it is kind of a speedrunning game. You can tell it's a speedrunning game, but you're also... I was playing it to get all of the crystals in the first run, because there's loads of crystals you can get, and then there's also like a hidden item. There's like one hidden object in each area. You saw maybe on the video there of the guy shoot some ice at a trap to slow it down. You also have a shot. You can shoot ice. You can use that to stun enemies very briefly. You can use it to slow down traps. Is he going to go and try and get that purple piece? He did. And then he got killed. I kept getting killed by that thing as well. Basically, there are these big enemies in the game with these, big, huge attacks. He was trying to... I don't know if he's going to start from... Yeah, so look, he's starting from that checkpoint. But I'm sure if he was a speedrunner, he would start that entire level again. But yeah, he did it. He went back into there. That's exactly what you kind of... Yeah. Then you should run back out again and run back around it. It was a little tricky, honestly. This area was very tricky. It might even be updated in the future because it was kind of an early one. But it was a ton of fun. I really like that quick platforming. I like when I'm getting chased by things. It actually kind of a horror element. The first time I saw one of those enemies, I screamed. And I turned around, I'm running the other way, and then they'd pop out from behind corners and stuff and attack you. You've got to kind of freeze them and run away and collect. And you're still trying to collect crystals, so you've got to deke around them and move around them. But really, it's the simple platforming, but it's fast, and you're trying to collect all of this stuff. There's little secrets everywhere to discover. I just love that a good first-person platformer. That's really hard to find a lot of the time, and this has that. In the same way that Soom did, and it has these jump pads that are going to shoot you off. Now you've got the ice element to be able to trigger open doors right at the last second as you're flying through the air. Slow down traps that you can avoid, stun enemies that are going to be attacking you, whilst you're also trying to discover all of the little secrets of this world and stuff. It was just a lot of fun. I think this one is definitely going to be how do I say it? It's kind of, some people are going to really like it, and some people it's just not going to be their thing. You're going to have to like those first-person platformers. There's a lot to not like about first-person platformers, but this one felt really nice, really smooth. The jumping is great. The running is fine. The speed is good. I don't know. I just really liked this one, and it's thrilling more than anything else. It's very thrilling, so that one got a 4 from me. Get Together, a co-op adventure. All right, that seems about it. Yeah, I mean, that's as simple as the game is, to be honest. The idea was, it's kind of like We Were Here, where, there's two players playing different sides of the story, and you've got to communicate with each other just over microphone. to solve puzzles. Interesting thing about this game though is that you're not being hosted into like a room together. When you start the game, you choose to either be this character, you choose to either be this character or that character, and then depending on which character you chose, different things are going to be displayed in your game world. So you actually don't need a super good connection or like for the game itself. You just need voice chat. So actually, you could play this offline using your phone or something like that, right? You're both just getting different sides of the puzzle. That does mean you're both going to have to own it. I guess, I don't know if, of course, you're going to have to own the other ones as well, but this one's a little bit weird because you don't invite somebody in, so maybe you can't use like the Steam invite mode, so you're both going to have to own the game separately. Because the other ones you can use that Steam local play or whatever. I'm not sure if that's going to be any different because a lot of them are these online co-op games. But anyway, we found it to be fun. I gave it a 3 out of 5. It was good, but a lot of the puzzles that we did were just kind of communicate what you're seeing. I see this symbol, you see that symbol. Okay, well maybe all we have to do is enter this symbol and that symbol. I saw this phrase, I read it out to you. Your phrase ends my sentence, and that's going to kind of be a hint towards the puzzle. And there wasn't enough to kind of get super excited about it. There was it was very simple with the puzzles, and it was a very, very short demo as well. So what we need to see more of is more types of puzzles. It needs to just be more dynamic, more engaging. I can see from that picture right there, it looks like there's some other stuff going on, which is cool. But all of the other pictures are actually from kind of the demo area. So a little bit concerning maybe about how they're going to reuse some of those puzzles or how they're going to keep it interesting as you go through the game. But it was a lot of fun. I just hope that it does continue to get more and more complex as you go through, so that you have to, up the communication even. Maybe even some timed sections or something like that where you have to talk to each other. Hey, I see this, you see that, I see this, you see that, and you kind of have to work with each other, in that regard. So let's get together. 3. Gladihators.
A fight to the death between the clones of historical deviants who went against the glorious state were the winner. Doesn't matter, as long as you make a profit. Warden, you have 365 days to clone, fight, manage, fight, upgrade, fight, sponsor, fight, and win the Prison Arena of the Year award. All for the glorious state, Gladihators, fight!
All right, well, I give this game a 1. So straight away off the bat, and there's a main reason I gave the game a 1. It is nothing right now in its current state. It is hardly a game. All of the functionality of managing your prison and upgrading and things like that is not available for the demo. All you could do is create clones, characters which are basically randomly rolled people. So their stats are kind of randomly rolled. You couldn't even kind of upgrade them or do something with them or anything else. It was just create a clone using this money. Then you go to an arena to fight. And let me open one of these pictures. You can see the WASD keys and then all of this attack, stun, defend. Actually, it's like you're not fighting. You're actually one of these guys kind of in this floating little hover. What even is that? It's just kind of a hover cart with the screen door. And you're just yelling commands. And whether the guy listens to you or when it listens to you or what it does is kind of, it's really up in the air. I remember likening it to, basically it feels like you're just Ash Ketchum and you throw Charizard out there and it just doesn't do what you tell it to do. It kind of does whatever it wants, lays down and goes to sleep. It's very weird. And I had to win 10 fights. I just sat back in my chair like this. I laid right back. This was the first game I played as well, so it was very disappointing. I just laid back like this, and we watched my character, who I just randomly rolled with super high stats, destroy the other person with no engagement from myself at all. I didn't press a single button in a lot of the fights, and she just crushed and crushed and crushed over and over. and I didn't do anything at all. Super disappointing game. Probably shouldn't have been released as a demo because I don't know anybody who would have been excited for this game if they played that demo. In fact, it turned me off this game completely. It's off of my radar. If I hear in the future Gladiators is such a good game, all right, maybe I'll give it another chance. But basically right now I'm like, okay, Gladiators sucked, right? It's way out of being ready. So that's how I feel. I'm gonna, in 2 years' time maybe, but right now it didn't need to have a demo if there wasn't enough content to really make it feel like anything at all. From the view of it, it looked really cool. Like, oh look, it has these kind of little squares, so I guess we're gonna be moving forward and moving back and attacking and defending and using this kind of strategic zoning, but actually you do nothing at all. So Gladiators was the first game I played, and it was a 1 right away. It was incredibly disappointing. Glitched. The donut character. There's the glitch. There is the glitch. All right, well, first, right off the bat, I'm not a big fan of turn-based RPGs. I find them to be very slow and boring. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. I find them to be very boring. This game was not like that. Actually, it was very cool for a long time. I mean, the intro, it's very silly. There's like a Toad character telling you what to do, and it's very self-aware about the world being a game and how everything's the worst. And then there are these 2 characters in the game, and something that I also really liked was this left character here. He was about to go on an adventure to the army and go fight monsters and stuff, and his friend here, Gus, was going to stay in this little town. He didn't want to go with him, and he was like, come with me, please, it'll be good for you. And he was like, no, I'm staying here. Then the glitch happened, and it seemed that actually Gus is the protagonist all of a sudden. It's kind of funny because you thought that you were going to be this guy, and then it flipped the script, and all of a sudden, now you're playing with this guy who was really thrust into this and didn't want to be a part of that. He just wanted a nice, simple life, and now all of a sudden, he's kind of the hero of the world. It's weird. But when he goes into the glitch, so you go through some story stuff, it's nice, so you can go around the town and talk to people, and it was fun, and then you get sucked into the glitch, and Gus kind of speaks to you directly to the player, right? And one time I told him, hey, you're in a video game. Yep, nothing really matters. I'm, the player and stuff. And I'm pretty sure he killed himself. Pretty dark. Something happened. He just like gave up on life. Then I had to do it again. And I was like, oh, yeah, no, I'm here to help you. Don't worry. I think I told him that I was this guy, this other guy, his friend. And I was going to kind of guide him through this weird world now. But then we had a couple of fights. And these turn-based RPG fights. But they were with parts of Gus's personality, right? So I had to fight different pieces of his personality, and they all had different ways to fight as well. It was interesting. It wasn't just this turn-based RPG, and it was cool. It was cool. You go into these different doors, and they would have different kind of fights that you have to go in there. Yeah, it was good. I gave it a 3. But it could have very easily been a 4. Look at all this. There's all this kind of craziness stuff going on. You can choose not to fight. Instead, you're trying to calm people down again. I always like those kind of systems in these games, where you're trying to win using emotion and dialogue instead of just beating up on stuff. Undertale really... Undertale did what it did, and it just exploded this new genre of games that it's like from Mother, obviously, but it's kind of this RPG, turn-based RPG, where you're actually not fighting. You're trying to get away from stuff. I think Moon did it probably first a long, long time ago, but now it's just exploded into be a full genre of its own. The only reason I gave it a 3 is because once again, playing the demo, you play the very beginning of the game. It's slow. You're doing all of this talking. I didn't get to play with a donut lady. I didn't get to see a tomato man. I didn't get to see these crazy 2 robot frogs. All I got was this weird narrator frog at the beginning, and then this story of this guy's going away. They're going to talk to each other. He's going to say goodbye to him, and then the glitch happens, and you fight a bit of your personality, and that was the end. I wanted to see more and see what else is going to happen in the game. So I'm kind of cautiously optimistic for this one just because it is a turn-based RPG and, you know, those aren't exactly my genre of games in general. So it does need to do something special to keep me engaged. And it seemed like it was going to, but I just didn't get enough time with it to really feel that. So I gave it a 3, but it could very easily have been a 4 or higher. Yeah, that was glitched. Grotto.
After people existed at all, the stars talked to a liar, and the liar talked to people, and the people changed. Once, a fisher, a tree dweller, and a loner endowed came to the liar, and the stars said, the fisher thought of the sea, the tree dweller thought of the sky, and the loner became sad. Once, drawing the lines of fate, the liar strived to understand people. And they tried, and they failed, and they tried again. Because this is a story of failure. But this is also the story of hope.
All right, this one was very, very, very weird. It was more narrative than anything else. All you did really was you were in a cave and you walk and there's always somebody in your cave stood beside a fire and they ask you for advice as you're some kind of seer of the future is what they believe. You're the soothsayer, it says there. And what you have to do is you walk back to your little den. You have a rock face on the wall that you've painted symbols on kind of thing. You have a little tent that you can sleep in sometimes. And then there is a bit of a higher ground rock with moonlight shining on it. You can stand there and you look up, you can see a little gap in the roof of this cave, and the stars beyond it. If you go into the stars, you can draw out constellations. You're basically like creating constellations. You're creating these shapes in the sky, and you find all of these different words from the different patterns that you find, and then you mark them on the wall. So there are a set limit of these constellations, and you're trying to kind of find an answer for the questions that you're asked by these people, right? So one of them came in and said, hey, there was a thief in the town or something, or a liar. What should we do with him? Or what part of his body should we punish, right? And I wanted, because he was a liar, I tried to draw like a tongue, and it ended up not being a tongue. It was more like ice or water, because it was like goopy. And then something about ice turning into water. And I can't remember what they did to him, but it wasn't exactly what I expected. And really, it's just this back and forth of super interesting narrative. I really wanted to hear more, but the actual game side of it was really just, you might as well have been rolling a dice, you know? You can try to find you can try to give them the answer that you want to give them, and it will change the story. It's very, you know, it does change depending on the answers you give them, but not really in any way that you can kind of expect or really understand. It's kind of like, imagine, you know, like Heavy Rain or something, and you have those options, and sometimes you would choose an option that seemed fine, like a neutral thing, but then the character would shout that at the other character, and you were like, I didn't mean to do that. I was supposed to, you know, I wanted to say that nicely or whatever. And it's kind of like, it's sometimes you can't really guess what's going to happen. You can't divine it. So really, all you're doing is pushing a story forward by going back and, you know, drawing lines in the sky. And that part was really just kind of whatever then, because it was like, you know, you don't know what's going to come of it anyway. You can try to guide them. But some guy said, what kind of leader am I? And I told him he was a moose or whatever, something like that. And he's like, oh, I take that to mean this and I take that to mean that. And I was like, yeah, that's really cool. I like to hear what they have to say, but the actual part of me going and picking the stars in the sky was just like whatever. I'd prefer to just pick from a list of words, to be honest, because it really made no sense. But it was super engaging narrative style. It's just the actual game wasn't really there as a game. I would like to see where this one led. I gave it a 3 because I would like to see a little bit more engagement from my end. But I did really like listening to the people that came back night after night and the stories that they had to tell me. That was what I found really interesting, and that's why I wanted to be most of the game. But actually, I kept having to go back and forth and draw lines in the sky, and that to me was just like, yeah, whatever. So 3, but I would like to see where this one takes me in the end. I just want to finish one of those storylines. It seems very cool. There's multiple endings. Going back and doing it again. The thing is, you wouldn't be able to, once again, let's just take Heavy Rain, right? You go back, you choose an option, you know what happens. You go back and choose the opposite option. That's fine. In this game, say there's like 25 constellations to choose from and they all might do different things. It's even if there's multiple endings, I don't think there's any way for you to guide yourself to the other endings. You know what I mean? You're kind of just throwing words into it and hoping that it'll take you down a different path. But it might not, so it's a little bit strange. You feel very without agency in the game, but it was the art is beautiful and the story, the voices and stuff were very nice. Not the voices, the dialogue was very nice. That was Grotto. Ooh, Midnight Puppet Show.
Tonight, on Action News Investigator 8. Mortimer's Handyman. A small children's cable show that critics say had a bright future until tragedy struck. An accidental fire destroyed the soundstage and killed 8 people, including series creator Owen Goverson. But one former employee says that's not what happened at all.
I was there for about a year. I still have nightmares about it. I mean, people would say I was crazy, but something was wrong in that place. Really wrong. Everybody knew. Don't be alone with the puppets. They watch you. They move when you're not looking. I know these 2 guys. Worked a late shift, never saw them again. Bam, gone. I told everybody, they wouldn't listen. They said I was unhinged and they fired me. Well, who's unhinged now?
So what are you saying?
He didn't die in a fire. They got him.
My name is Owen Goverson. I brought them to life. Now I have to stop them.
And just a little blush for you. There, good as new.
All right, so this one was very creepy. I actually had a bit of trouble with this one. I unplugging the controller and plugging it back in again. It wasn't working properly. I restarted the game a couple of times. We got it working though, and what I really liked about it was it does the horror, stealth horror thing that I really like, which is it's not just about you go into a room, there's a monster, you run away, and that's the end. It does this thing where no, the enemy is walking around actively around the same place you're walking around, but you're trying to solve puzzles and get collect items and things. There's somebody playing it now, you can see. You're trying to get all of these items before without being caught, and that's the scariest thing ever, because you've got to somehow get past them to get to the other side, to get to the other rooms. You know that if you spend too long in a single area, they're going to approach. So it's this really wonderful horror game where you're trying to move around these dolls. Obviously, you only get to take part in this very first area, but I assume each puppet basically has, I don't know how many puppets there are, but each puppet maybe has their own level that you have to complete. It was very, very cool. The problem is I found a lot, if the doll sees you, it was very difficult to kind of get away. It was just kind of like you're dead. And they could see you from quite far away. A lot of the time you were just trapped in a room and there was nowhere to hide. You can go around and you take batteries out of objects to put them in other objects. You can actually set up traps so that it would, stun the doll. You can open up closets for yourself to hide in. But basically, there are just certain situations, a lot of situations where if that doll saw you, you were done. and it was just like you didn't have much control over getting away, so sometimes you had to be lucky. At one time, I started the level, the area. I opened a door. And the doll was there, and it was like, hello. I turned around to run, and there's nowhere to hide because I hadn't had time to set anything up, and it was just like the look of the draw more than anything else. It was a little bit weird. So, I don't know. I liked the concept of it, but I really didn't like sometimes how easily the doll could siege you. Running is completely forbidden because they can hear you, so you're only running when you're running away. But you need to kind of know the lay of the land because you can very easily run into a dead end with nothing, nowhere to hide and whatnot. So that kind of felt a little poor. If you get seen, it's game over unless you're very fortunate, essentially, is how it felt. Or you need to know this entire arena, which is going to take just a bunch of trial and error. And I'm not a big fan of trial and error. I like execution. I think it's, I can learn the patterns of this guy walking around if I play 100 times and I'll always succeed, right? But I don't want that. I want to try and sneak past it and do all of this, and I want it to be dynamic and different every time. But no, I don't know. This one it had its ups and downs for sure. Really love the puzzles. A lot of the puzzles, I really love the kind of idea. I'm just watching what this guy's doing now. I don't know what's going on. Obviously, there's the puppet's taking over somebody's hand. And I don't know what's happening there. It's like beating the puppet or something. But yeah, it was, if it got to you or whatever, it just felt really bad. There were a lot of traps. Sometimes those paintings have eyeballs like sticking out of them. So when you're walking down a corridor, you have to check all of the paintings every time. If you're walking past a certain item, you have to check every time because the doll might be in there waiting for you and it'll just grab you and insta-kill you. And stuff like that. It was just like, all right, well, you want me to be nice and slow, but also this puppet's coming for me, and I don't know. He just got grabbed by the puppet there after all that work, and now he's going to have to start from the beginning again. You saw that. And that is just... It feels really bad. It feels kind of lame, and then you're doing just a lot of trial and error, which is not fun for me. So it was a 3, middle of the road, because it had a lot of positives, but also some negatives that I hope kind of get worked out, get ironed out by the time this actually releases. Next one, I Am Fish. All right, I hate that trailer because it makes the game seem really fun, and it was not. I gave this game a 1. I honestly, I hated this game. Oh my god, it sucked. It sucked because it felt so horrible to control the little fishbowl. It was basically trying to roll. Imagine playing Marble Madness or something, but the marble, was so heavy that to get it to move, you're holding a direction key and you're kind of like holding it really hard down as if that's going to change anything. But you're like, please move faster than this. And then you build up some momentum and you have to change direction. So you like stop to a halt to turn because otherwise the weight of the ball carries you over the edge of, carry you over the edge of whatever, like the rooftop, and you'll smash and die. So it's just like, oh, it felt awful. It was really heavy and I hated how it controlled, to be honest. It made it seem like you were going to be able to do all sorts of cool stuff. You got the flying fish, so you can land in different water, and you got the piranha, and it was grabbing the toilet, so you had to kind of block the toilet or something. That stuff looked really cool. In the demo, that's not what you do. In the demo, You are the goldfish. You have a goldfish bowl, and it's just a very heavy sphere, and you're just trying to go through an obstacle course. And it's not even really an obstacle course. It's just follow the path that the developers have set for you. There's really only one way to do it. You just follow the path. So it was super boring, really, and not only was it boring, but it felt awful to control as well. So it wasn't even like, whoa, fun moving around this sphere, this fish is going crazy, and I've got to, you know, maneuver through all of this stuff. It was basically just holding forward, wait for it to actually start moving, which was so infuriatingly slow. It killed me. And I couldn't deal with it. I got to the ocean, it was whatever. I didn't want to play any more of this game. I hope it gets fixed, because that trailer made it look super cool, and that is not how I felt about this one at all. I really disliked the heavy controls, and I really disliked the lack of really doing anything. I was just following the flow of the level. That was I Am Fish, a 1 out of 5. Next one, Industria. Whoa. The heck was that? Alright, well, this game was super weird, because what you just saw there was not the game that I got to play. The beginning of this game is a walk through some like underground facility. Where you're reading up on the coming down of the Berlin Wall, and something crazy has happened, some experiments have gone wrong or whatever, and I don't know, it seemed more like it was going to be this puzzle adventure game, you know, this 3D puzzle adventure game where you were going to hear a story, you were going to read logs and figure out what was going on, and then I solved all of this stuff. We got out of this facility after playing for 30 minutes. And then we had an axe, and there were some of these weird robots out there, and I ran at them. I put it on hard mode because I did, and I didn't know there was any cover mechanics or anything. I shot at them, and they didn't die, and I died. And I was like, all right, it says it's a first-person shooter, but the demo was the intro. Once again, an issue. The demo was not the first-person shooting part until you got to that. I don't know how long this demo goes on for. But I stopped after like 40 minutes because, you know, I had 100 games to go through. I can't spend 3 hours on a demo. A demo should be a taste of your game. But it wasn't. It was the entire intro, which once again is an issue for stuff like this, these events where I'm trying to play a bunch of games and quickly rate them. So this one got a 3 because it was interesting, and I actually liked that slower story side of things. I was like, hey, what's going on in this place? Super weird that we're reading about all of the, you know, the goings-ons and not going-ons and not of the outside world, not really understanding what's actually happened or what calamity has taken place. Then we got outside and a bunch of robots attacked us, and I was like, oh, I guess it was robots uprising all along, and I never knew. Very, very weird. So it was kind of playing 2 completely separate games, and they were both interesting, but they didn't really seem to gel in any way, and I just didn't get to play the actual style of the game at all, really. I got to play for like 2 minutes, and that was the end. So I gave this one a 3. Could have been higher than that if, you know, the demo probably should have really taken place probably middle of the game to give you a better idea of what you would actually be doing in the final release, but it did not. So a really, really strange demo there, and that ended up being a 3 out of 5 because of that. KeyWe. Okay, everybody should know this game by now. It's been in development for like 4 years. It's all over Reddit and Twitter all of the time. Super cute. Little co-op game. All right, so it's a co-op game where you and a partner are KeyWes, and obviously not spelt like that, but you know that's the joke. And you, well, actually, I thought it was just a mailroom gig. From all of the trailers I've seen in the past, from a long time ago, I really have been. I've had this one on my wish list for I feel like years. I feel like 4 to 5 years. Maybe it's been that long. I don't know, but. It's been all over Reddit from early development and Twitter. And every time it kind of posted a new GIF, everybody went crazy about it all over again. Same way that the Untitled Goose Game did for a number of years before it came out, where every time it'd post a new little funny GIF, the whole internet would explode. So I finally got to play it. I played it with Kim, and we had a total blast. So we love Overcooked, and there really isn't anything else that scratches that itch. This seems like a game that would be able to do that. Just a very hectic co-op game where you can kind of, you know, be doing your own thing, but you need to be working on, you know, it's the same objective, but you're doing your own thing. But then sometimes you need to call each other and come and, you know, help each other out. I'm typing some of this letter, you're typing out some of this letter, but then to send it, I need to hold one button whilst you jump on another so it goes into the right direction. You actually get to play in this demo 3 different levels from throughout the game, which is really nice. So there are levels and then there were challenges or something. So you got 2 levels and a challenge. First one was one of the early mailroom gigs. The second one was kind of a parcel room gig where you actually had to, the things dropped into boxes and you had to decide if was it perishable, is it fragile, is it, you know, heavy, and you had to stamp it with different stuff. Then you had to input the address and send it away, and that was really cool as well. And then the third one, which I didn't expect, there was a bunch of these like creatures, these birds, and you had to feed them and keep them happy. You had to water them, give them water, give them food. But then they would start arguing and fighting each other. So you both each had to go up and start like squeaking at them to like calm them down. You just like, and that was when one of them was upset. You'd kind of calm it down by squeaking at it. When 2 of them were fighting, both of you had to go up and squeak at them to calm them down. And it was just like, oh, come over here. I need your help to, shout at these birds or whatever. Really silly game. A lot of fun. It does have the kind of bronze, silver, gold system where, you know, you play a level and if you do really well, you get the gold and whatnot. And we love that. We always got 3 stars in all of the Overcooked levels. We played all of the Overcooked 2 and all of the DLC and got all of the 3 stars. The 4 stars are obviously for psychopaths. But yeah, so that's hundreds of levels we played, and we were always looking for more content like that, more gameplay. This looks like it's going to be the one. So this one actually got a 5 out of 5. I didn't rate this one. It was actually Kim said that was a 5. And I kind of agree. It was a very high 4 at the very least anyway. So I kept that as a 5. The next one is Keyword.
Honey, what are you doing?
Fine. This one looks like a horror game because of this creepy little girl at the beginning.
Come here.
Daddy.
Picture of me.
I'm on my way, honey.
911, what's your emergency?
I'd like to report a missing person. Salah's been missing for 3 days, and the police have nothing. I guess I'll have to take matters into my own hands. It seems she's been meeting with a stranger. What the hell? Someone is stalking her. I need to find out who this guy is.
All right. Well, we can watch this.
Oh my god. What is really going on here?
All right, well, I'm going to stop that there. I am very glad I didn't watch this trailer before playing this game because it has just spoiled the entire demo. So fantastic. That was a terrible trailer to make for the demo that you have. It did have this, I gave this one a 4. I really enjoyed myself with it. Basically, it started with all this weird stuff, the little daughter drawing on the floor and being like, haha, I drew mommy and you and me. And then when you're a bit older, the mom's dead. And now the daughter's like, hey, you know, we were kind of bonding a little bit. And now, once again, it skips into the future and the daughter is, you know, kind of a bit of a rebellious I don't know if she's like a teenager or if she's like in her early 20s now or something, but she's a bit rebellious and she's not answering your calls and you're worried about her. And you are actually a private detective, so you decide, okay, I need to know what's going on. She seems to be missing now. All you have really is, you're in your apartment and it's in lockdown, and all you have is, you look around the apartment. There really isn't that much going on. You have a computer though, and that's pretty much what you use this entire time. If you, saw that trailer, then basically what happens is you first try to get her password to go into her email address so that you can then reset her social account, which is, basically like a social media, like a Facebook type thing. So you can get into that so you can see who she's been talking to and maybe who she spoke to last and get some help because, nobody's really helping you out. But what happens is you have to, you discover that this guy was messaging her, that creepy guy that you saw there. You go to his website and you're looking through and I realized, hey, this blog has 3 pages, 1, 2, 4. What about number 3? So there's a bit of hidden information if you do that. And it was really this kind of way of how do you find somebody's email address? How can you guess somebody's email address? How can you find their password? How can you really social hacking kind of thing, talking to other people, getting some help from emails that you got yourself about your address so that you can order some binoculars. And then you find the address of the guy that's been stalking her. So, okay, well, how do I know where he lives? Well, it's kind of weird because you can order sushi to his apartment and then you use your high tech binoculars to find you watch where the sushi drone goes from the kind of dispatch location. And you watch it go to this specific room where the window's open so the package can be delivered. And then you see in that room that he's dead, actually. He has like no head. And there's drawings of your daughter all over the wall. And that was the end of the demo. And that's actually what it showed you there. It didn't show you the dead body for some reason, but that's what was there. Kind of told you the answers though of how to do it. Like, I have also just done that, but they were right there in the video, which is just bizarre to me. But I really liked this idea of that the understanding of how can I access this certain information? How can I find this out through what I have? It was a really cool puzzle to solve. There was a bit of time where I was a bit annoyed and I was going to get down the game. I was just like, I don't know, I can't find anything else in the house. I don't really know what's going on. It's because I tried to enter a password that didn't work and I tried it again and it did work. So I must have just slipped and spelled it wrong or something. And it kind of tricked me for like 20 minutes. I was just running around like a headless chicken. So one problem with like puzzle games like that, if you just mess up one thing and you're like, well, that's not the answer, and then you don't try it again, it can be a real issue. But I liked that a lot. It was a 4. I really wanted to play more. I don't know why it did the weird intro stuff with the wife and the daughter. I know it's trying to set things up, but it just kind of felt out of place really for a game like this. But the actual gameplay and the concept of the social engineering, it says there, the hacking, the deduction, heavy deduction, I really, really liked that. Interesting to see where this goes next. Or are you still stuck in your apartment? Is there anywhere else you go? Is it all done from there? Or do you go to other locations as well and then continue to solve these cool puzzles? I like that one a lot. Keyword. Kingdom Gun. All right. Well, this was another one I played cooperative with Dom. We had a lot of fun. It's essentially Risk of Rain. If you've ever played Risk of Rain, the original one, the 2D one, this is Risk of Rain. So it's a 2D side-scroll platformer shooter. You have different abilities with the different classes, the different characters that you have. You can either, be co-op or solo. And you're stuck in a level, basically, that you can explore. It's left to right, but also vertically as well, up and down. And the longer you're in the level, the harder it gets, the harder enemies spawn. And obviously, the tougher they are and the more damage they deal, basically. You have to kill them to get coins, to open chests, to upgrade your weaponry, find passive upgrades. There are places where you can sacrifice life to get upgrades. And the idea is you need to find an artifact and then a teleporter. You activate the teleporter, which, triggers a boss. You fight the boss and you're on to the next level. It's exactly Risk of Rain, actually. So, but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun with the different stupid weaponry that you had. I had a Nyan cat gun, shoot rainbows, and it would actually do the nyan 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 nyan. Dom found a bee gun. We found this double dragon gun that would shoot like flame dragons out of it. All sorts of like crazy, silly stuff. The character classes looked awesome. It was a blast. The problem was the demo itself had a lot of issues connecting. I was the host and Dom was joining my game, and what I saw on screen was not what he saw, and sometimes some really weird stuff was happening. It was a little tricky to kind of get his heads around. It didn't perform very well. I'm hoping that's not indicative of the full release, but it was actually a lot of fun. We didn't get any permanent upgrades like there's this guy here. It looks like this actually might be some kind of Rogue-lite where you can upgrade your characters as you go along or something. Maybe it's not, but it did seem like a total blast. Risk of Rain 1, yeah, I really like. Risk of Rain 2 sucked up a lot of my time last year. It was great. And this is just like kind of a different version of Risk of Rain, right? Risk of Rain was very minimalistic. This one, it still has that pixel art style, but it has a lot of detail to it, and it's very silly on top of that. And I really liked it a lot. It's kind of like Risk of Rain meets Enter the Gungeon. I gave it a 3 because of those issues, so we didn't get to really get through it very well. We didn't really get to spend all that much time with it. Because of those weird things that were going on, but it was a lot of fun. And I'm just hoping I'm hoping they continue to build on it, and when it does come out, it's a total blast, because this is one I can definitely see myself playing 100 hours of with Dom, try and get through it, because Risk of Rain famously difficult, and this game was quite a challenge as well. I just hope it actually is up to that same level of quality as Risk of Rain is. But yeah, that was the 3 for now. All right, Moons of Darsalon. Oh my god, there's a spaceship. Get the pickle men. Laser gun. Out. Follow me. Is that a flashlight gun? Awesome. That's great. Oh my god, they're drilling through. Okay, now the spaceships and stuff. Enemy vehicles, wow. That dance is the greatest dance ever. I need to reach out to this developer and ask, please, can I use that GIF as an emoji in the Dark Zero Discord, because it is a total blast. Or maybe maybe I should try and follow. Does this game have a Discord? I need to join it just so I can use that GIF. Basically, this game was a little bit of trouble because I recorded it, and it was like 30 minutes, 40 minutes of gameplay, and then I realized my internet had gone down, and I'd lost all of that gameplay, so we had to restart the stream, and I had to play it all over again, so I ended up losing like an hour. But this game was so much fun. It was so much fun. You started as just a normal guy. You were trying to grab people in the same kind of way that Abe's Odyssey does, right? So come with me, stop, and then you can tell them go left, go right. And you can either say that to everybody in a group or you can direct it in a certain direction. You start off just doing that and a bit of platforming. Then you need to, then you get a laser gun. You have to fend off people. You get a flashlight because people don't want to go around in the dark. They're scared in the dark, so you've got to light it up. Then you get a gun that creates ground, so now you can actually create pathways for people for, you know, when gaps are too long. And then you get a jetpack in the next level, and it was really kind of this progressive thing. And then it looked like you get a vehicle, and then enemies have vehicles, and then they have special attacks and stuff. So it's really just get to the end of the level with all of the people alive. But that is not easy to do, and it obviously gets harder and harder. It was really, really cool. It was unlike really anything I've played for a very long time. The art style was very cool. The gameplay was challenging, interesting, really dynamic, and yeah, sometimes the problem was with the AI, they would act like morons and they would get themselves hurt and stuff. But in the end, it was really, really fun, satisfying. And when they get to the end of the level, they do this kind of funny dance that they were doing then, and it was just so, like, such a good sense of humor as well the game has. This one is a great. I gave this a 4. I super enjoyed it. I'll very much like to play this one on release, maybe as well, or sometime after. But yeah, I want to see where this one goes, because every level was just getting crazier and crazier. I imagine it becomes very difficult. This lava stuff that drops down is really difficult because you want to try and get people past it without them dropping on the heads. But when you tell them to move, sometimes they've got to platform a little bit or climb up something, and oh god, it can be a real pain. I love like these little GIFs here, these little animations. It's awesome. And actually, this game had a GIF maker inside of it. But yeah, that was great. Next one, Moons of Darsalon. It's not going to be for everybody, but this is going to hit a niche audience. But the people that like it are going to love it. I'm sure about it. Mortal Sin. This is going to be the last one I do for this video. I'm going to have to cut this into 2. I can't believe how long I've spent in this video. And we're still only halfway through. But let me play this from the beginning again for you. Oh my god, good use of an ability there. You know, this just makes me want to play this game again so bad. I'm really excited for this one to come out. Ooh, I haven't seen one of those creatures before. I didn't see a pole arm either. Nice. Oh! Alright, Mortal Sin. Straight away, I gave this one a 5 for several reasons. One of them, have you seen the design? Holy hell, man, it attracted me as soon as I saw it. I actually got a lot of requests to do games. We got some just in the PR box, which was just like, hey, our game's going to be available if you'd like to do it. Then we actually got a lot of requests for people saying, hey, we would like you to do this. And some of them even sent us keys. So we had access to the demo early before the SteamFest started, but we wanted obviously to do the event. So there were a couple of requests. This is one that I am very happy that I managed to find myself going through and adding some, you know, at the end of all those requests that came in, I got to add a bunch of games that I wanted to play that I like the look of as well. And this was one of them. I'm so glad I did. It was fantastic. It looked incredible. Look at that weird art style. It's so bizarre in such like a I don't know, in a weirdly attractive way. It really kind of pulled you into this horrible world. And much like Dead Space, you can't just kill these enemies by attacking them. You've got to like chop the limbs off. So you want to be hitting them in certain areas, although that didn't always feel like it was, you know, you had much agency over doing that. You had much control over it. It kind of just felt like you were hitting them and parts of the body would fall off, to be honest. But basically, it's just you have a sword, You go through a dungeon, there are traps, there are a bunch of enemies, and it's very heavy on the parry. You have to be blocking is pretty bad. You really want to be parrying these enemies' attacks and getting them on the stun afterwards. So it's all about learning the enemies, trying to pull them out into open areas, maybe force them into traps. You can find new weapons all over the place, new armor and stuff that you're trying to build up. It is a roguelike, so you start from the beginning each time, and then you might find a different weapon. You might find, okay, should I go with this armor or that armor? And it's that very kind of action RPG where they all have different stats, and what are you kind of trying to build out? Are you going for parries? Are you going for speed? Are you going for strength? Even if your weapons are a lot slower, and you kind of have that build out. But throughout this incredibly looking dungeon, even though the game is very simple and you're doing the same thing over and over again, it was just so addicting and cool. And I really just wanted to try and get further and further and further. I wanted to try other abilities. When you get like 3 levels down, you get to choose like a passive upgrade. And I imagine that continues as you go through it. I wanted to see a boss and I never got to one. I spent quite a bit of time with this one, a couple of runs we did, and I loved every second of it. It was just so cool, and the design, it really did just kind of pull me in. Even when we were running through the same kind of dungeons, it just felt so good. You can see that parry, the kick there into the trap as well, making use of the trap. It is a simple game. It was gorgeous though, and I completely randomized levels for infinite replay value, obviously. But yeah, it was very, very satisfying was the combat and the design. So that actually got a 5 from me. That's going to be the end of this video. Thank you for watching if you've watched it. I know this one is it's a little unorthodox because, of course, I'd already done these videos and I just wanted to make sure I can kind of justify all of these scores that I'm giving these games without just saying, hey, Mortal Sin's a 5. Why? Oh, it looks very nice. That's all you can really say, right? Because you have not seen me play it. You didn't get to see my reactions firsthand and stuff like that. So without that video, it kind of felt a little bit out of place. Really, I'm happy that I'm doing this, but I know it's not going to be for everybody to watch just me explaining how I feel about stuff. It's mostly for myself, and I'm feeling quite good about it. But I can't believe I have talked for 1 hour and 40 minutes about 23 different games. Only 23 games. I've still got 22 to do. So we're only halfway there, and I'm 1 hour and 40 minutes in. I can't believe it. I thought I was going to get this done in 40 minutes flat, but I think I have quite a lot to say about each of these games, and I like trying to kind of justify my... Oh, you know what? We need to just watch Naraka right now, because if this lady here gets this correct, we're about to have a really good time with this cat. Basically, you can like, you pet it, and if you can get it correct 3 times in a row, come on, do it. Do it. No, don't talk to her, because she keeps telling you, hey, stop messing with the cat, right? Oh no, it's gone. Lady, please, please. Please engage the cat one more time. I don't know what you're saying.
Bye.
No, she stopped playing. Oh, come on. Okay. Well, if you do pet that cat another time correctly, it just shoots off through the roof as a rocket. It made no sense. It was totally brilliant. But Narcos to talk about tomorrow. Until next time, thanks for watching. I know this one, like I say, is a little bit unorthodox. Just really getting it off my chest. It felt really bad to lose all of that content. So it's nice for me to be able to just kind of go back and, a bit of my memory of these games and how I felt playing them and how I feel now about them afterwards as well. So expect a part 2. Bye.